It's time to get hot and bothered.
Oh, my.
You're tuned into the Talking Heat podcast with Hot Sauce Guide and FGC.
Welcome to another episode of Talking Heat. Slug, you are chowing down on those nachos like it's nobody's business. How Turk and Slug, and how you doing?
Well, he's got a mouthful.
I never looked at myself. I always give people a thumbs up, and I thought it looked a lot better. This is some crippled shit. This is my thumbs up right now. And I always thought, I knew my hands are different, but I thought people could tell. You can't tell a damn thing what this is.
You're talking like
you've got
you're
like
talking
a
like my favorite president.
Yeah.
My favorite president talks like that.
Damn, that was a real kick in the confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah,
great.
When President Obama was like making his like biggest points, that's how he. I love it. There you go. That's very dignified of you. I'm doing good. I got a little bit of a stomach ache. I'm doing okay though. How are you? How are you doing, Hot Sauce Guy?
I'm good. Life's been less busy, but also more busy. I have less busy at work, but now it gives me time to invest more time in the hot sauce and back at the gym and getting to do things that I like to do. So it's good.
Are you still riding your bike like 3 miles every morning with Chuck?
Not with Chuck. But I do like 2 or 3 times. So 2 or 3 days a week I go to the gym, and 2 or 3 days a week I ride my bike. I don't know, 4 to 7 miles. So.
You're not taking Chuck on those bike rides?
No, he's
too old.
He's slowing down.
You show off.
But
what do we have on the agenda today, my guy?
So, I'm excited. There's been a growing internet myth about some of the events that we've coordinated together. But today we get to talk with Chef Brian Bartbow. Excuse me. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good.
Doing great.
Great.
Even I think we can break the fourth wall there a little bit. Even with the necessary prep, you still managed to butcher his name, and that's the best part about this show. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
A minute ago, we clarified how to say the name, and we still messed it up.
And
so that's showbiz, baby. That's showbiz.
And it's just like a mashup of my first name, middle name, and last name. So it's
put it all together,
bro. Yeah. Alliterative names are the best.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm good though. I'm good. Can't complain.
Perfect. So who had the best draft? Because we got 3 AFC North teams represented here. I don't know if they told you that they're some weird Steelers fans. So
yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah,
it came up.
I mean, the Steelers always manage to, no matter how bad they seem to be, win 8-9 games. You know, Tomlin's a great coach. The division's going to be
still
tough.
above 500.
Yeah, right. Never had a year under 500 in like 15 or 16 seasons. I mean, I like what the Bengals did. The Browns are the Browns. They're going to mess that up for sure.
The Browns is the Browns. You're right. Let's pay a guy $200 million.
Yeah, $250 million, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for the season, regardless of the draft or any of that stuff. I'm just excited for football to be back.
It's funny that's been this. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that we absolutely. I just love football. I'm excited. It's April. I'm hyped for it. I know we've got 140, 60 days, whatever, till we get game action. But the NFL draft just gets me ready. My wife is just like, what the hell? I thought football was over. And it's like, nope, April, baby.
Over.
We're
That's
back.
Right. That's right.
What are you going to say, Mark?
Oh, I was just going to say that I don't think there's any team that is so excited around draft time more than the Browns, just because we're always so bad. We generally have – they made a freaking Hollywood movie about it. But the draft being
that movie
the mecca
supposed to show
of
how good you guys are at drafting?
No, I don't know what it was supposed to show, but nothing has ever happened like that in our draft history. So you know, maybe one day. But it was
I personally think you guys should just reach out to Kevin Costner and bring him into your front office, because he seemed like the most competent general manager you guys have had in the past like 50 plus years, and he was an actor playing somebody. So I feel like that might be.
Whoever wrote that script should be our next GM.
Yeah, there you go. They should do that.
All right. Well, we're super glad that you were able to join us today. Appreciate your time. We always like to kind of start. So for those that don't know, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, both, I guess, as regular civilian and private chef.
Sure. So I'm originally from Virginia. So East Coast down south is kind of where I'm from and how I was raised. And I like to think that really shapes the way I cook and view food. Currently, I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so in the Southwest. I went to culinary school a few years ago. I've always loved cooking, though. And I remember growing up, spending time in the kitchen with my grandmother and watching her cook, and spending time in the kitchen with my mom. And one of the first things I learned how to cook was, I remember it like it was yesterday, it's like fried fish. And I was, 8 or 9 years old. My dad and I would go fishing like before church on Sundays, and then we'd come home and clean and cook whatever it was that we caught that morning. So that was one of the first things I learned how to do. And also, I think it's fitting that it was like a fresh caught thing too, because I love to cook with wild game and things like that. I really enjoyed culinary school, because I went to culinary school. Of course, I learned all the French and the quote unquote classical techniques. But I really enjoy international cuisine and trying to find ways to bring in the international, the flavors and the pairings like that into kind of what we consider traditional foods. So then after culinary school, I guess while I was in culinary school, I kind of came up with the idea of doing the private chef thing. And it's one of the few businesses that I think the pandemic kind of helped to boost a little bit, because the restaurants were closed, but people still wanted to, have family dinners, and they, people that were always going out because they don't cook, they still needed to get food from somewhere. So I think it was one of those things where it was kind of a niche that grew a little bit during the pandemic, and then it also helped me, to just kind of get my name out there with people, and people that are traveling here to Albuquerque. I've done stuff for them. I've done small weddings and things like that. I've had an opportunity to be a vendor at one of the larger farmers markets here last summer at the rail yards. So I had a good time doing that, and I actually won the Frito pie competition they had last year, which I'd never even really heard of Frito pie. Yeah, I won it. I never really heard of Frito pies until I came here. I didn't know it was a thing. The kids have them at school all the time. And of course, in my true fashion, I had to put my own twist on it. So I had like a Cincinnati style chili Frito pie. And then I had just the traditional, red chili that they have here. And then I did like a taco version that had, fresh pico de gallo and guacamole and all that kind of stuff on it. So yeah, that's just kind of my style, mixing things up, trying things new, helping people explore things in the kitchen or through food. I guess outside of being a chef, I'm a dad and a husband. I got 3 kids, and my wife, actually in May, we'll be married 13 years. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. I always joke with her that I made it another year without getting stabbed. So it's always a plus, when I can do that. So
yeah.
So it's always you got to celebrate the small wins,
Yes.
We're at 10 this year, so I feel you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited. Like Hot Sauce Guy, like you were saying, it's been a great time kind of getting up with some of you guys when you come to Albuquerque for the Fiery Foods. And I'm hoping that's something we can grow and continue, in the future for sure.
Well, it is, and I think we need to figure out maybe if we do it somewhere else, because I think next there are people already DMing me, hey, how do I get in this next year? So it's for those that don't know, so how we first met was judging a very collapsed hot sauce tournament or hot sauce I don't even know what it was. Hot sauce competition, I guess. Hot sauce awards. I won't name who put it on, but I think the judges were you and Vic and myself, and that's how I got introduced to you, and found out that you were in Albuquerque.
Yep.
And then when 2 years ago, when we came down for the Fiery Food Show, put together a little evening dinner with some of the hot sauce makers that were in town, and it word quickly spread that it was a good time and there was lots of good food, and we did it all again this year. It's building a life of its own. These like pre parties, but it's always a good time, and you've been such a gracious host. And these guys were supposed to be there last year, but got in a little bit too late to.
Okay.
They weren't there this year, but they were in Albuquerque last year and got in just a little bit too late to eat some of the best burgers and wings I've ever had.
Yeah, I arrived as you guys were wrapping up. Like my plane
Man.
landed, and I told one of them to like steal me a burger or something, and they're all gone. We ate them all. We ate everything instantly, and I was like, guys, I've been traveling for 12 hours. I've been stuck in an airplane. I was just hoping to be able to just sniff something that you made, and they were like, "No, we ate everything. You suck."
Yeah.
So I had to get the Sandia's chicken fingers and fries at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. It was the only thing that was open.
Yeah.
After being teased all day on social media by what you guys were doing, it was heartbreaking. I'm not bitter, if you can't tell.
Oh yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, it's a great time though, because it's funny with social media. You meet people and you get to know them kind of virtually, but you can go years and never actually meet face to face. So it's cool to kind of see all that come together. See all those people meet and make some connections that way.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And it fills your collection of hot sauce for at least a good while. So
it'll last me just long enough until like when you guys come back the next year, then I'll re-up. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
So do you, I know we judged that hot sauce competition or awards together. And I don't know how you got involved in that and how the person that ran it knew you or found you. Prior to that, did you have any experience in kind of the hot sauce world, or was that kind of something new to you?
So I did a buddy of mine from culinary school. He makes hot sauce and seasonings. So I had to work with him on some stuff he had done, and so I kind of got introduced to it through him. But outside of that, no, it was kind of my first adventure into the hot sauce world, which I had no idea how like vast and how deep that pool goes. But I'm glad I got into it though. It's funny because the other day my wife was asking if we had hot sauce. She was making something, and I was like, "Of course I have hot sauce. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "No, not that kind of hot sauce, like regular Louisiana or Texas Pete." And I was like, "No, I don't have any of that. Wow, why would I keep that in the house when I could have, some of this small batch, high quality stuff,
handcrafted, exactly,
right?
Good
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Louisiana was what I was raised on. My dad.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
My dad. That's what we had. Every option could have been available. He always chose Louisiana, and I love it. I still will occasionally, if I see it somewhere, I'll grab it.
Actually, that's like my preferred hot sauce for like fried fish. Just because I grew up with it, so it's kind of just my go-to for that. But outside of that, I rarely.
We would take it to all the fish fries that, like, when my dad, like, during the Easter season, there was all the fish fries and stuff. We'd bring our own hot sauce, and my dad would always bring a little bottle of Louisiana to all the fish fries.
Now, one I will not eat under any circumstances Tabasco sauce. Like, I see Tabasco sauce, I just assume that means you don't want me there. and I just excuse myself. It doesn't taste good to me.
What if it's a type of Tabasco? Because I love the Chipotle. Maybe it's whatever they serve at Chipotle. It's like a deep brown one, and I can't remember what exact flavor. Because I get you that the plain stuff, it's all right, but it's basic. There's not that much flavor. But they have a couple of the different like varieties that I don't mind. But again, I'm a trash monkey. I'll put it all in my mouth. I don't have a defined palate.
Right. I never had the Chipotle one, so maybe I'll look out and I'll try that one.
Yeah, when you're at a Chipotle, like they usually, it's like a dark brown, and I'll take the whole bottle to my table. I personally really enjoy it, and I'm not a huge fan of basic Tabasco because again, I don't think it has a lot of flavor.
Now, I will tell you one of my unpopular opinions or food hot takes that I have is I don't think Chipotle is that good. So it's not somewhere that I would go by choice.
I used to love it, but it's hit and miss for me.
Yeah, I've had more misses than hits, so it's just somewhere I kind of stopped going. But,
and it's honestly like nothing against it, but it's something you can kind of make at home pretty. I mean, if you don't have the time, it's easy and quick and probably healthier than a lot of the quick places you could go eat. So I do appreciate having something that's quick, that's probably on the healthier side, depending on what you order. But it is definitely something that you could cook up at home. I've even cheated and messed with their rice recipe before at home. Gotten, I think, pretty close.
There you go.
I just want chips and guac. I just love their guacamole. I'm not good at making it at home. And I don't want to fry my own tortillas. So I'm just going to swing by and get a big ass bag of. I'll spend the $10 and get a big cup of guac and chips. But other than that, I could leave it.
And it could be a side effect of being here in New Mexico where there's so many like small mom and pop spots where I can swing through and get the chips and guac or a burrito or whatever, bowl. Where I just don't need to go to Chipotle.
Promise you, if I lived in New Mexico, I'm never touching it. If I lived in California or New Mexico, I'm never going to Chipotle again, ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
No need.
It's the same idea as why I avoid Tabasco or Frank's Red Hot or Cholula nowadays. Nothing against them, and if you're in a place that you can't get good hot sauce, it's there and it's reliable. But I can name 10 other companies that have a Louisiana style hot sauce that I'd buy before I purchase something like that nowadays. So and they've done a lot for the industry, so there's definitely not bashing them at all, but there's definitely places I would prefer to purchase if I can. Makes total sense. Same reason you got so much good Mexican and Southwest food there that I wouldn't probably eat at Chipotle either.
Right.
Chef, what was the catalyst that said, I'm going to chef school?
So really I credit my wife with it because it kind of was a plan that I had floated for like once I retire. I was working at the shipyard at the time in Virginia. So it kind of was like, well, hey, once I finish my career in 30 years, maybe I'll look at going to culinary school. It's kind of just something to do because I like to cook. And she kind of was just like, well, why would you wait 30 years? Just do it now, Yeah. So she kind of pushed me to go do it. And I think that's really what started the whole thing with my, private chef business and the catering and the meal prepping and all that I do now. I would credit to her kind of pushing me to go ahead and go to culinary school instead of waiting like I was planning to do.
Very nice. Hey, man, just take the dive. I tell friends all the time, just jump into it, no matter what it is.
What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out.
What's the worst? Yeah. You could always go back and find some crappy job and then get back to where you are.
Yep. But I did it as like a night school thing. So I'd go to work and then I'd get off and go to class from like 5 to 10 or 5 to 11 or whatever it was. Which sounds like a long time, but it was great. I enjoyed every minute of it. I did have one instructor in one of the classes. I don't remember which class it was. It may have been one of the beginning, like second part of the fundamentals. They kind of split it into two classes. And she was like some of those chefs you see on TV. Like we'd have an assignment for a dish we're supposed to cook. And she'd say, I want your plate on the table, at 9:45. And she's standing there screaming at you at 9:40, get the food on the plate. What are you doing? So that was interesting, but
crazy.
I loved it.
You get real hype. Okay, yeah. I mean, that gets your adrenaline going. You have someone screaming at you, got fire and heat, and you're smelling everything, clanging and banging.
Yep.
In a whole other way.
Yep.
Hot Sauce Guy, what else you got? I got so many questions, but I'm going to let you take the reins. But if you want, just take my leash off. I'm going to start going.
No, I've got, you can go ahead. I've got a couple of things, but I'm in the process of.
So, okay, you said private chef. That's what I wanted. What we talked all these hot sauce, bologna, jonies, whatever. I want to know day-to-day operation. What does it look like as a private chef? Do you have the itinerary and every day is the same, or does it all depend on what's coming up that week? So, what can take us through what your 9 to 5 or your 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. looks like as
Got
a
you.
private chef?
So it kind of depends on what events and just kind of what I have going on. I don't have any right now. I don't have any like reoccurring clients that I work with, other than like the meal prep stuff. So it's just private dinners. People have private events. So I'm doing consultations. All of my menus I do custom for each person. So I kind of get with them during their consultation, see what they like, they don't like, food allergies, all that kind of stuff. Then I develop a menu based on that. Custom, and it's customizable. That's the whole reason you would hire a private chef, is because you can get exactly what you want. So I, make the menu for them. I do my shopping, my prepping. I have a kitchen I work out of, so I do the prepping there, and then I go wherever the location is, and I do the cooking there. So generally the events are weekends, and then during the week I'm just preparing kind of for the meal prep stuff. I do virtual cooking classes as well. So those are kind of thrown in there every now and then. Let's see. So it just varies. Kind of just depends on what event I have scheduled or coming up.
Now, is by event, now does anybody often just say, hey, I don't want to cook on Friday night. Can you come cook just for me and my family? Or is it always like an event where you're kind of hosting a bunch of people?
Oh, no. I've done 2 people that just wanted to have dinner and want to do a date night and stay in the house. I've done, 20-person dinner parties where people are in town for whatever reason. I've done stuff. I don't know if you guys know, Albuquerque is a big spot for film and TV. So I've done stuff with some of the film and TV companies. Because a lot of the actors and actresses, they're on set, 12, 14 hours a day. And all the Albuquerque is a pretty big city. Everything's closed. So like your only options after you wrap at 10 p.m. are like Taco Bell.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've worked with them to, make sure they have some good food to eat. I've done the same with some of the like Broadway, off-Broadway type productions that come here with some of their cast members and the crew. So it's not all just parties. It's just regular folks.
Okay. And when you say a menu, is it like, listen, okay, I'm not going to give you the world, but you can have this chicken, or you can have this beef, or you can have this shrimp dish, and then you're ready to cook all 3 of those on the spot, or they tell you ahead of time what dinner they want? Like, that's what I'm curious. Like, are you going to show up at my house and say, hey, I can make you 3 things right now? Or do I know what you're making before you walk into my house?
No. So the menus are agreed upon beforehand. Because that way I can get the ingredients that I need, and I know, if I need to bring any additional equipment, or, some stuff is harder to get than other stuff. I even had people say, hey, I have a buddy that, hunts a lot. He gave me a ton of elk. Can you make some elk steaks for us or something like that? But yeah, it's known in advance what it is. Now, every now and then, like, hey, it's 20 people and X number want chicken, X number want this, and then it gets jumbled up. So I'm there kind of trying to figure that out on the fly, but the menu is pretty much set.
Thank you.
I had a really good question and then I forgot it.
Well, I'm going to call an audible real quick.
Audible?
Just because my sour cream is starting to look melty. Normally we try the sauce at the end and wrap up. We're going to try these nachos in the middle of the episode and then circle back more questions.
Absolutely.
So why don't you run through kind of where this recipe came from? Obviously include some hot sauce. Did this recipe, I don't know how old this recipe is. Did it always include hot sauce, or is that something you kind of threw in now that you've become immersed into the hot sauce world? But kind of, because I tried the marinade, I'm one of those chefs that like pick at things as I'm putting together my meal. So I tried that marinade, and it was delicious.
He didn't even wait. You're talking. He didn't even wait. He just started eating.
So the recipe itself is something I've used plenty of times, going back to when I started doing the farmers markets to make nachos. But like you said, until I kind of got more immersed into the there you go, looking good. Until I got kind of immersed in the hot sauce world, using the hot sauce like as a marinator in the cooking process was not something that I had done much. It kind of was an afterthought, right? Like, you make your food or whatever, you grab whatever hot sauce and kind of just dash it on at the end. But like what I've realized now, kind of getting more involved in it is, hot sauce really can be a cheat code for you when it comes to like building flavors, especially in marinades. Kind of as a something you can add into a fresh salsa just to give it another layer of flavor, because there's already so much flavor in the hot sauce that it just it instantly levels up whatever it is you're using it for. But yeah, so the inclusion of the hot sauce in that marinade is something that's relatively new. But the recipe itself is something I've used, a ton.
And so we are trying. Do you have a specific name for this? And is this served on your menu regularly?
So I don't have a special name for it, but it's definitely kind of now my go-to recipe for nachos. And I do little variations where like I'll smoke the chicken instead of grilling it, or pan sear it, things like that, or blacken it. So a little twist like that, or shred it. Do the same marinade and then like slow cook it so you can shred it. But yeah,
And that's what you did when we were there. We had shredded meat, I think.
So when you guys came, I had some chicken that I smoked. I had some beef short ribs that were braised and shredded. And then I think there was another thing. I don't remember what it was.
Short ribs, man. I love a good short rib.
Yeah.
See, Hannah was going to shred it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him all those questions today. I was like, but let's go by, let's do it by the book. Whatever the recipe says, we're going to go that way. Which, actually, that's a lie. I made an audible, because I think it says marinate the chicken whole, then grill it, then cut it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I want extra sear marks. I want extra coverage. So I sliced it up
Cut
first
it up.
and then marinated.
Yeah.
So since you went to chef school and I did not, is there a difference between marinating a whole piece of meat and then cooking it and slicing it versus slicing it first?
So of course you get into the surface area thing, right? So if I have the a piece of chicken and I marinate it whole, there's only the outside of it that's in the marinade. Obviously some of it seeps in. But if you slice it, you're increasing the amount of surface that's the marinade's getting to. And there's not a right or wrong way to do it. Just depends on how you like to cook it. Like if I was gonna sear it on the flat top, then it being sliced up is fine. On the grill, I think it's easier to have whole pieces that you grill and then cut up.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that you said you've made it shredded before, because we were thinking about putting a slow cooker and kind of going low and slow, letting it shred up, and putting those over the nachos, getting that juice everywhere.
Yep.
Well, this is delectable. I would love to know, Hot Sauce Guy, what sauce did you use? Because we kind of had that up to interpretation. So
I was going to ask you what. I was going to ask what beer and what hot sauce you used. So I went with Green Label by Lucky Dog, which is a jalapeno garlic type of mild but flavorful sauce. Both for the marinade, and I use that in the pico as well. And then I use Modelo as the beer for the marinade.
Nice.
I used a craft beer, a voodoo beer that was in the fridge. Couldn't tell you what it was. It's been there for about a year and a half. It tastes great. I was thinking about making I wanted to be the foil, okay? I'm here to entertain. So my goal was that if Turk was going to do it one way, you were going to do another. I was going to try to guess what hot sauces each of you are going to use. And then I was going to use, because it just said pick a hot sauce, the absolute worst thinking hot sauces you could. So I was going to use the bird blood, which is cranberry. I was going to try to put cranberry into the chicken, and I was going to use some random ass one.
Recipe?
Well, I mean, just to see how it turns out. Because you guys did it the right way, but I did not. Hannah's like, I'm not going to eat any of it with you. I was like, good point. So I used the new Galacticobo in the marinade.
Okay.
And it's very good chicken. Loving that. And then I used, because it says maybe something sweeter or fruity in the pico. Hot Sauce Guy will have to pronounce it because I've never read it. It's like the Topeka Tropica, whatever, the super fruity hot sauce that was in last season of Hot Ones. It's got the mango and the banana and the and pineapple. It's got every fruit under the sun in it, and I'm really digging that. Really digging the pico with all those fruity, vibrant flavors coming out.
Yeah, and I like when to make salsa and include some fruit, like mangoes. Obviously, even like peaches or kiwi is another one that's kind of out there, one that some people don't think about.
Kiwi, I would never have thought to use a kiwi.
Yeah, it's good. So that's why I think in the pico, it's nice to have something that's a little more, because that can be a good balance. It can be kind of the refreshing break the heavier, more savory protein, whatever protein you're using to be. It can be kind of a balance to that.
I'm also a big beef guy. I just will eat any red meat I can. So
Okay.
I'm thinking of like if I could use you don't really marinate ground beef, but if I get some sort of flank steak or some sort of like spare rib, what I could do to get some beef nachos.
Yeah.
I usually don't go chicken, but this is delicious. So this might now turn me on to chicken nachos. I should have brought a fork because it's just so delicious, but so messy. And my fingers, as you saw earlier with the thumbs up salute, I don't have the greatest dexterity with these little digits of mine. I gotta break the chicken string. There we go, baby.
There you are.
Oh
That
my
was-
God. Hot sauce guy. What else you got?
Yeah, that was incredible. Turk, you'll have to tell us later in the week when you're feeling better what you.
How about this? I will make a video following the instructions and then do like a full blown like reveal this week, so that way I'll like one of those like those little TikToky things that people put out where they follow a recipe and they like put everything in there. I'll make a official Fat Guy certified TikToky video following your recipe, and then we'll do the reveal on social media so people can check it out.
This is a great recipe. And I didn't
Yeah.
think I was gonna like the pico. I'm loving the pico.
Yeah, and I love nachos
The only
too.
thing
'Cause it's kind of a choose your own adventure, right? Because you can kind of do it up as much as you want, or you can just have it be simple and just chips, cheese, and grilled chicken. So that's why I really like nachos.
Absolutely.
So in your recipe, you chose a Mexican you wrote Mexican lager to allow us a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
What do you normally go with? Like a Modelo or
Yeah, Modelo or Dos Equis.
Dos Equis? Okay.
Yeah, that's another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mother loves Dos Equis.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. And then if you were just making this at home, what hot sauces would you grab to fill in?
So for the marinade, I really like I can't remember the exact name, but Lucky Dog has a picante. One of those, I forget which one it's called. That one's a good one, and the one that's Sam Souse makes, the Boxcar Hippie. That one's a little more on the spicy side, so the kids aren't crazy about that. But I like it. I think it makes an amazing flavor to marinate the chicken and then kind of grill it, and then that spice is just kind of into the chicken itself. So those two are kind of my favorites, I would say, or that I've used most recently.
Is it for the Lucky Dog? Is it the El Perro Afortunado? Maybe. That's
Maybe.
the red pepper salsa picante.
Yeah, that's the one.
That sound
Yep.
about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
For those
Fire makes
listening.
he has a red Rojo something one that's good too that I've used in the Frito pies before, in the red chili.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can use that same ground meat recipe for for nachos if you just do ground beef.
Cool.
I'm
And
not
then
gonna
I-
lie.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we keep talking about Frito pies. I think we might have to try pulling that stop out next year in Albuquerque.
Yeah, we should do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I've never had one, so that sounds crazy good. So this is just an aside, but I don't know if you checked our hot sauce March whatever we call it this year, because we change the name of it every year. The FGC HSG hot sauce guide tournament thingamabobber. But the the galactic I know in your recipe you call to use a fruity sauce for the pico. The Galactic Hobo won this year, and
Okay.
it's a Hawaiian t-shirt party, and it's really, really good. Just based off of reading the ingredients and seeing the ingredients, I think that would be a nice little addition to the.
That's what I chose, and it's amazing.
There you go.
Yeah, it's got that sweet heat. It's good. It's good. I think that would fit there. So if you haven't picked up a bottle, pick up a bottle of that. Cause
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that one out. I haven't tried it yet.
It is very, 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 very good.
He's on the East Coast, and I don't think he gets to the show in Albuquerque. If he ever did, I'd certainly invite him to dinner. But it launches, I think, tomorrow. That sauce. So it's like pineapple juice. It's got some earth, so it's a little bit sweet. It's got earthy tones with cumin and some other things. So it pairs, I'm sure, really well with the is it ancho peppers that or chipotle peppers, I guess, and ancho sauce or something that was in the recipe.
Yeah.
That would probably pair really well with the marinade.
What is your absolute favorite thing to cook?
I
As a
guess
chef.
I would say steak probably.
Man.
I love it any way you can cook it. Grilled. I do a lot of sous vide. Cast iron, reverse sear, kind of all of it.
So one of Slug's roommates is a very picky eater. So
Okay.
like if you go to like a Chinese buffet, he only eats like the fried chicken wings, like that kind of picky.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't eat turkey.
Or
And so
or it gets a sweet and sour chicken but no sauce.
So yeah, so like so for Thanksgiving we would always be together, but he will eat steak, and
Okay.
so we created Steaksgiving, where we would just sear up a bunch of steaks and cook a bunch of steaks, and that would be our Thanksgiving protein, and it was a great few years. So Slug and I would always just like try different recipes, like searing the steak, flipping it like every 2 minutes, doing like a sear on like on the fat side.
Yeah.
Well, I have a sous vide. I love the sous vide. I have an Anova sous vide. So like cooking steak, I buy as housewarming gifts sous vides for people, just because I love the process. What if you had to choose the perfect way to cook and serve a steak? What would you do?
So I would do like a season and marinade overnight. Grill, like super high heat grill. And I have a pit boss grill, so like one side's a grill, one side's a smoker. So I'll have the smoker going and the grill. So you do it on the grill and then put it on the smoker and put a big fat pad of like cowboy butter or something on it, and it kind of bastes itself, and it gets the smoke infused in it.
Ooh.
And that's the best.
Okay.
Ribeye cut too. I don't.
Okay.
Filet is like my least favorite cut. Ribeye is like number one for me.
Yeah, we buy ribeye all the time. That's our go-to in our house. We get the ribeye all the time.
Yeah.
I made some Philly cheesesteak like tacos the other day, and we had some nice sliced ribeye. It was chef's kiss.
So I've got a question. Obviously you spend a lot of time meal prepping and or cooking for other people. Is it the family that you do like test recipes on, or where do you come up with new recipes, and when do you have time to do something like that?
Yeah, they are involved in my testing. They're not. So I have a rule with them that you have to try something one time. You can't just say you don't want it. You got to at least try it once. So like I brought home some snails or something, some like garlic butter poached snails, and made them try some of those. So I do try a lot of stuff on them. A lot of stuff on my own I do. Because they're not as adventurous. I'll cook something and the kids will like, hey, can we just have cereal tonight? Sure, whatever, I'll eat my sous vide ribeye, you eat your cereal. It's all good. Although steak is something they'll eat whenever it's made. They like steak and lobster and stuff like that.
Oh, they got the good tastes, okay.
Yeah. But then anything else, they'll be like, we'll just take cereal. Yeah, so it's mainly on them and kind of just on my own. When I first moved here to Albuquerque, I did a street food like entrepreneurship class, and part of that class was doing some recipe testing. So I got a chance to test out some new things there, and the chefs that work with that program, get their feedback on some stuff. Even as far as like the plating and presentation goes, because that's a big part of it as well. I don't have my notebook, but I have it's almost like a sketch pad that I keep when I'm planning like for private dinners or events, where I'll like sketch how I want the plate to be plated up. So then that goes into, whatever is being cooked, how I'm going to cook it, and then how it's going to get plated. It's all kind of planned out in advance.
Nice.
I love the idea of you having a notebook that has all the secrets / your brain in it. Like every idea, like here's how it's going to be. I want it to look like this. I want it to be set like that. That's really cool. You never hear that. Like that's the side of cooking you don't really hear from.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff, I kind of cooking in my mind first, like all the way from prepping to cooking to plating before I even go in the kitchen and try anything. So again, I already have a plan of how I'm gonna attack whatever it is that I'm making. You find different ways to do it, kind of midstream. Like I like to think there's never any like mistakes. It's just you figure out a new wrinkle that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work, you just don't do it again next time. If it works, add to the list.
What are the big?
Oh, go ahead. Nope.
Go ahead.
Nope.
No.
So I see on the internet. I follow a ton of YouTube chefs. Like that's like my guilty pleasure pastime is just watching different chefs on the internet and stuff like that. And you see all the different like intricacy, like all their different like techniques and stuff. And are you a tweezers, a chopsticks, or like a like what is your like go to like everyday tool? Because I know some chefs use chopsticks for everything, other chefs use tweezers. Like, do you have one that you use, and it's like you have to have this one? This is like how you use everything.
Yeah. You can't cook without it.
No, not really. I mean, I guess the only thing I would say I'd put in that category is like I have a really good chef's knife. The really sharp, just quality knife. I think it's something you have to have. It just makes your life so much easier in the kitchen when you have a good knife. As far as the tweezers, I have cooked with chopsticks before. It's cool, whatever. But it's not something I have to have. I can take it or leave it.
Okay.
Especially when I do like cooking classes, because that's something I have to consider is what's something that the average person is going to already have, because I don't want you to have to go out and spend a ton of money to learn to cook this one dish. So even though I have some different type of pans and things like that, just trying to keep it as basic as possible. Same thing with the utensils. I don't have anything crazy.
Okay. Yeah. My biggest most recent learning curve with cooking is we bought all stainless steel pans and learning how to because I've always ever cooked with non-stick just like learning how to cook everything that I normally know how to cook, but with the stainless steel and heating it the right way and everything like that. So that way sometimes my wife will just be like, he's in one of those moods again because I didn't heat it up right, and so my eggs all stuck to the bottom of the pan, and I'll just start MFing and all this stuff. That's my biggest my learning curve recently in the kitchen is learning how to cook on stainless steel, because it's different.
It is different.
Didn't expect it to be so different, but it is different.
Yeah, I mean, even the heat source makes a difference. Whether you have, I hate glass cooktops. It's like the worst.
Yeah.
I much prefer gas because it's easier to control. You can heat stuff up super fast. In the kitchen I work out of, they have a French top, which is just like a big flat top, basically, where you just put the pans kind of wherever on there. Those get super hot, so that's nice. All the pans, the heat source, all that kind of makes a difference.
I work for a university and I'm a live-in professional, so I've always, and in the past 10 years, we've lived in an apartment or a dorm room or a dorm apartment. So I haven't been able to purchase the cooking stuff that I want. I want a flat top. I want the first thing that I purchase whenever we buy our own home or whatever is going to be a big flat top, and then a smoker or something like that, because I just want to be able to just hibachi in my house kind of vibe. I feel like that's just that's peak dad dad home kind of vibe is the Blackstone fire top or whatever.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I bought when we moved out here was a new flat top. Yeah, because I had a smaller one. Oh, it's perfect for breakfast. You can do just pounds of bacon, pancakes, potatoes, all at one time. And I have a Pit Boss flat top as well, which I love. I think it's just as good as the Blackstone. It's not as expensive, and it's portable.
I love saving a buck.
Oh yeah, so I take it with me. So I've done dinners where it's 20 people. I'm doing 20 10-ounce ribeyes, and I can do them all at once on the flat top. So it's perfect for that.
Nice.
Now, Hot Sauce Guy, you did have a question earlier before we cut you off unrudely. Because we have rights here, too.
So you said you lived more on the East Coast, and now obviously you're in the Southwest. What are the big differences, culinary speaking? Do you prefer one over the other, or what are kind of the differences you've noticed living more on the East Coast and now out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most obvious differences would be the seafood. Being on the coast, the seafood, fresh seafood is more readily available than what it is here in the desert. Um, so just people's preference for seafood is not as big here as it is on the East Coast. Um, Same thing with being down south. You get some of the soul food type dishes, and those kind of meals are more popular than they are here. But I love the kind of the mix of, because New Mexican it's not Mexican. It's kind of a blend of Mexican, what you see like Tex-Mex, and then kind of the Native American influence as well. So I like that kind of melting pot of style. As you know from coming here, the green chili, the hatch chilies, that's a big thing here. If you go to any restaurant, you order anything at all, they're going to ask you red or green. And I wasn't aware of what that meant until I got here. We went out to eat for the first time. And the person's asking us red or green. I'm like, red or green what? Like, what are you talking about? Like chili. Oh yeah,
What's
I'll
your
think,
choice?
yeah. Or like you order a chili cheeseburger, and what I'm thinking is like, ground meat, chili sauce, and it comes with this like relish of green chilies. And it's like, what is this? It's kind of weird. But I love the chilies. I love spice. So I love all of that that you see here. And it's cool because I get to mix kind of what's available here, what people are used to, with a little bit of, with the way we do things, or the way things are done, East Coast and down South. Even as far as just ingredients, like, I've gotten some of that Carolina Gold rice, which is like a strand of rice that they were growing on plantations, way back in 1800s, that some of the cultivators and farmers have brought back now. So I've ordered some of that and have it shipped, and it's a whole different flavor of rice. I don't know how to explain it than what you see here. So just being able to mix those two cuisines, is what I like to try to do.
Very cool. Yeah, and I did also learn, having been in New Mexico now a whole 2 times, that green or red, you don't mix them. That's a faux pas.
Now you can't get Christmas where they put it on the same plate, where it's like half your
Yeah.
enchiladas or whatever, or green chili, half are red. So you can do that.
I guess don't mix it. Don't make it
don't
brown.
like.
Well,
Right.
but yes, no, I meant like ordering both though. I guess what you'd call Christmas, like one I got crap from one place for asking to do that. So
Wow.
I quickly I have to pick one or the other. But I guess
Yeah.
it sounds like maybe there are some places that do that. And then, but I think the first time we went to breakfast a couple years ago, and they green or red, can I do both?
No.
I guess.
I guess.
But maybe it was just the place. So maybe it was just the place.
It's like for Manny Brothers. There's some places you can't ask for anything other than salt and pepper, or they'll yell at you. They don't like to change.
This is true.
No, I'm not gonna stop eating these nachos.
I was so
I made
jealous.
I got a whole plate in front of me. I'm messy as fuck. Like, I can't touch anything.
It's in my
And so if
future.
I can't touch anything but the nachos, I'm gonna keep touching the nachos.
There you go.
I can't wait. So, I had like this. So you talked about earlier. This is the question that I forgot a while ago. Who's the most famous person that you cooked for that you're allowed to share? I don't know. Sometimes it's like private. People don't want to know. But who's like, or like a cool person that you got to cook for that was like a sweet experience.
So I guess no, I wouldn't consider them
Hot
famous,
sauce guide.
but
Hot sauce guide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, it's all the people that come to Albuquerque for the fiery food. No, I mean, honestly, that
Nah, I bet those bums ain't famous.
I would 100% put everyone that comes to the fiery foods as one of the top groups for sure, as far as interesting people. And I mean, even if you want to say famous, I always find it funny. Like, I'll see, who was it, Sauce Leopard that came this time, and then to see his stuff on Hot Ones, it's like, oh wow, okay, I got a bottle of that in the fridge right now. He gave me a bottle of that sauce there. But there was another guy. It was a couple that I cooked for. I think it was their wedding anniversary, maybe. And he said normally they travel to some fancy location. I don't know what he did. He had security cameras all over his house. He had a big mansion kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was wild horses all over the place. He said him and his wife normally travel. And like last year, they went to Paris to some three Michelin star restaurant, but they couldn't this year, so they were looking to bring in a chef. So that was, I mean, it was a little intimidating to hear that, but at the same time, I was like, look, I'm just as good as anyone they're going to find, in Paris or anywhere else.
That's right. That's right.
Hell yeah.
So that was kind of cool. I mean, it was just a cool couple of people I got to hang out with. They hung out in the kitchen and we talked, and I showed them kind of what I was doing, and they ordered a ton of food. So I was in there cooking for them, letting them try stuff as I was making it, and they had a great time.
Right, you give them an experience. You can't get that at a Michelin star
Exactly.
restaurant. They're not even going to let you fucking pick the fork up without their permission. You're like, come on in, let me show you. Try
Exactly.
this.
And that experience is really what I like to say I provide for people, because you can get good food all over the place. And I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back or say that I make the best food out there. But it's the experience,
This is pretty good right here, so.
Anytime you post a picture, I instantly salivate. So I think that you're definitely humbling yourself a little bit there. When you were talking about that guy's house, I immediately went to like James Bond. Like you cooked for like James Bond or somebody. So.
I don't know what he did, but he was like, "Hey, you want to check out the house?" And I was like, "Sure." We're like walking around the house, and like went past one room, and it was just like wall to wall security camera monitors. They had like a sauna in their bedroom, in their master bedroom. I don't know what this guy did, but it was pretty cool. So I mean, I meet a lot of people like that. I would put in that category, which they're just interesting people. One of the couples I did a dinner for, the husband found out I was into cigars and whiskey. He was like, "Oh, well, I've got this, Pappy, whatever. You want to try some of that?" We sat down and had a couple glasses of whiskey that I can't even afford to buy if I could find it anywhere, So
yes.
That kind of stuff,
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It's
Hot
funny.
Sauce Guide, is it time?
Oh yeah.
Well, no,
we
go.
can-
If you have
No.
something.
I was
I
just
was
gonna. Yes,
Don't let
it's
him
almost
fucking
time.
throw you around.
No, but what I was gonna say is it's funny. Speaking of like, oh, I've seen these people's sauces on Hot Ones and on TV, and we get together at your house, and I feel like when I look around, there's all the old guys of hot sauce, and they've been doing it forever, and they're the OGs, and they're the guys, the innovators. But it's funny now when I look around at these festivals and the people we're spending time with, and I'm like, do these people buying sauce know that their favorite hot sauce was made by like an early 30s to like early 40s person? Like this is the next wave of hot sauce, and it's fun to kind of get everyone in a room and be like, wow, this is the industry, and no one, you don't think about who brews my beer or
Right.
who roasts my coffee, but to meet like the people behind the hot sauce, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's cool how there seems to be like zero ego involved, in the hot sauce community. Everyone's just, it's not like a competition. Everyone just wants to see everyone win, because there's plenty to go around for everybody,
Yeah, and I think it is. I will scream that from the rooftops anytime someone asks. I think it's one of the more inclusive and welcoming communities, and I think partially, I would say partially because no one, as I famously say this or not so famously say this at the beginning of every one of our episodes, no one grew up dreaming to make hot sauce. So we all came from some other background or doing something else, and so everyone understands. They were new at it. They went through a struggle, and there is just, no one owns one bottle of hot sauce. You're not fighting over one person's sale. So there's room for everyone to be involved, and so I think it's really neat to see people help each other out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you use 2 different hot sauces in the recipe that you made today, so like there's always there's always something for somewhere, and a different palette or a different mixture that you can always toy around with. That's you're so philosophical, Hot Sauce Guide. Like you should write like like those like little
Fortune
like poetry
cookies.
books, but like little but they're just like 1 or 2 lines. You should, but all hot sauce themed. Just like throw them out there. You should do that. That'd be sick.
Before we get ready for the
Uh,
wrap up, I want to see how humble Chef is because I believe he is a humble person. What's the last thing that you could either the last thing or the most prominent thing you can think of through your whole life that you cooked? You're like, this is garbage. I know you said earlier there are no mistakes, but what's something that you could think of like, oh, I screwed the pooch on that one? Because I say my friend, everything my friend makes upstairs, she's never made a bad meal, except when she tried to make lentil tacos one time. That I would prefer to never have again.
Yeah.
I would never have that again. It just it didn't hit.
There's this thing, it's like a dried corn Chicos. I can remember the name of it. That's popular here, and people eat them like a stew, like pozole, I guess.
Okay.
And I was in the class when I was taking when I first got here. The chef would assign us ingredients, and I had done. I don't know if you know what a monkfish is. If you don't, just Google it. It's ugly fish. I took it, made some fish tacos. It was great. He assigned me Chicos. I went to the store, got them. Was like, oh, I can knock this out of the park. I had already planned to do some like smoked pork belly with it, and made them, and they were like inedible. I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened. I tried to well, maybe I can grind it up and make like a chowder out of it. That didn't work. Tried to pivot. That didn't do it. So that was definitely one where I was like, okay, I've messed this one up.
That was a learning experience. And now you know how to never do that again.
Right.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Some people I never made a mistake in my life.
Oh, no.
I've always picked everything.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I've messed up some stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to pivot to my new favorite segment. I think we've changed the name like 6 times because I've found people on the internet that have segments like it. But these are just going to be 10 questions to get to know you a little bit better. I've had to change several of them because they were already, some of them were that I had written down were already asked mid-interview.
My bad.
But no, not naming names, not pointing fingers. So 10 quick fire questions, whatever comes up on your mind first, just to learn a little bit more about you, get to know you, see your thinking skills.
Okay.
No, it's all about you. Nothing.
Solve for X.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite place to eat when you're not cooking?
Favorite place to eat when I'm not cooking? Texas Roadhouse.
The rolls.
Favorite place to visit? Like destinate, like vacation or?
Oof. Cincinnati.
Red or green chili?
Green.
Okay.
Favorite Bengals memory?
Oof. Being at the playoff game against the Raiders when they finally won that first game after 31 years. If I have time, I have a funny story about that. So
you have as much time as you want.
So I had I got
the
tickets to go to that game. And I took my son. He was 10 at the time. His birthday was like that Monday or something. The game was on Saturday night. So I kind of was taking him for his birthday. One of the, I don't know, of course, not being Bengals fans, you probably don't know these people, but the Bengals captain, the guy that looks like Captain Obvious, but he wears the Bengals suit. Anyway, he hooked me up with 2 tickets, and we were like 2 rows off the field in the end zone. It's a video of Jamar Chase. He scored one of his first touchdowns. He's doing the gritty, and our seats were like right behind where he was. Matter of fact, in that game, when like Tyler Boyd and them jumped up in the stands, it was like 5 people down from where we were sitting. But anyway, we're sitting there, we're having a good time. We're eating snacks, hanging out. It's like I'm going to watch history happen. It's the end of the 4th quarter. The Raiders were driving. I think it was under 2 minutes. And my son looks at me and he's like, Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. That's the face I made right there, Turk. Yep. I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, but, I'm literally sitting like front. Right, yeah. We're like, I got a front row seat to history right now. I'm not going anywhere. He's like, I really got to go. And I looked at him and I said, look, I'll never tell anybody about this, but I'm giving you permission to pee in your pants. Just do it. Go for it.
You told your kid to let it rip.
Absolutely. As a 10-year-old standing there, I said, hey, man, look, just pee your pants. We're going right back to the hotel after this game. You can shower and whatever. I won't tell anybody else. But now, of course, I've said it on the internet.
I
So
just
he
put
does
that
it.
together.
So like his face, I could see him like struggling and not wanting to do it at first, but then he just like does it and whatever. And then he was a trooper. He was a trooper about it.
He probably got a jersey on the way home.
So he didn't, but he got some gloves from one of the running backs. He had a sign that said "Today's my
shit.
birthday," and the people in front of us let him go down like right against the wall because the players were coming off the field, and one of the running backs came over and tossed him his gloves. So they're up on a
That's
shelf, kind of
awesome.
above my shoulder. You probably can't
Okay,
see him
cool.
out of the picture. But yeah, he got some gloves from one of the players. You know, he got to toss the ball around with a couple of the players before the game. So that would definitely be my favorite memory. And that story will be something we'll have, you know, for the rest of his life. For
I'm
sure.
gonna.
Ever.
I wanted to ask this, but I forgot to ask. So explain the Bengals' passion. Virginia, you'd assume maybe either closer to Baltimore or maybe even the Commanders. Where'd the
Yeah.
Bengals come from?
So my dad, while he is in the sports, really didn't have a favorite team. So I kind of was just left to my own devices to pick a team. And it was right around the time I was probably 8, 9, when like NFL Game Day was popular, and like Peter Warrick was coming out of college, and the Bengals had like the best uniforms in the football in the video game. So I think I just kind of picked them kind of in the mid 90s, and just, which is a really weird time to become a fan of the Bengals because they were absolutely terrible from like, you know, late 80s to, you know, late 90s. That whole decade was just, if we could forget that whole decade happened. But yeah, I just picked them and kind of stuck with it. And, you know, now it's finally paying off, you know.
You will have
I
your
dream
son.
someday that my stick with itness will pay off for
Yeah.
pretty much any sport that I root for. But
Hey
you know,
man, the Buccos are the number one, almost the number one team in baseball right now. So you have a chance. It can happen to you.
The
I don't
Bucks
know.
are
It's the
number
Cleveland
one team.
Browns.
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not into baseball though. But another side story. Sorry to derail everything here. I was
Always.
at.
There's no
go.
derailing.
I think it was
This
2
show's
years.
about you.
I think it was 2 years ago now. I was at a Bengals game, and I was at one of the big tailgates that's there, and this random, like an average looking dude, kind of walks up, curly hair, not much taller than me, so he wasn't like, you know, a big jack guy or anything. People are taking pictures of him, and I'm standing next to him. People taking pictures. And I don't know who he is. Someone asked me to take a picture of them with him, so I take the picture and I kind of walk off. And everybody was like, "You know who that was?" And I was like, "No idea." It was Jonathan India. That had just like walked up, the Reds rookie that year, like all-star rookie, which I had no idea because I don't watch baseball. So what can you do?
That's a cooler story than whenever Hot Sauce God came to visit us in Nebraska, and it was the Ohio State versus Nebraska game, and we were just out at game day, just walking around doing all this stuff, and then a bunch of people are like taking photos with this couple, and Hot Sauce God got so giddy, he's like, "That's Justin Fields' dad. That's Justin Fields' dad," and so what?
He walked up to me and said, "I love your sign." So in context, and I didn't know who he
that's
was.
right.
In context, my sign said Justin Fields greater than cornfields because we were playing Nebraska.
I got you.
And he walked by me and like said, "Great sign." And then some like Ohio State, I guess they went to Ohio State that came up for the game. Go, "Do you know who that was?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "That's Justin Fields' dad." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
And so Hot Sauce God got a photo with them, and then
nice.
I was like, okay, I need to feel included. So I found, oh no, I'm drawing a blank right now. He's on the Giants.
Robinson.
Wandale Robinson's dad, and I was like, let's get a photo. Come here. I want to feel included. And then Wandale transferred to Kentucky, broke all the records, and is now a Giant. So it's okay.
Oh man.
And also, Mark's sign said Justin Korn is greater than Fields because it was the hardest sign to read ever. It was the most. You're supposed to read it all over the place. It was not easy to follow.
Korn.
I almost feel like that
Justin
was the third
Korn
sign
greater
too.
than Fields.
I feel like that was the third attempt at that sign as well.
That's funny.
It was. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, Justin
Justin
Korn.
greater
Fields.
than Cornfield. Justin Cornfield.
That's why he made the greater sign so big. He had to really cut the real estate in half.
Well,
that was.
You would read a greater than sign only one way.
Only one way.
There's no open to interpretation, sir.
So all-time favorite Bengals player.
Ooh, I mean Chad Johnson is one that I would go to. I loved AJ Green. That's another one I would say.
AJ was good.
Yeah, of course. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow is probably going to pass all of them when he wins that Lombardi. But yeah, I'll say Chad Johnson.
I've already told you about my love for the Burrow, so I won't dilute the conversation any further with that. And I also don't need it on record, me supporting a Bengal player. So Hot Sauce Guide, the floor is yours.
Favorite meal to make? So you said you love cooking steak, but what would you pair it with? Or if you have a different complete meal that you love cooking?
I'm going to say fried catfish and cornbread.
Sign me up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Most recent hot sauce that you used?
The Stanky Bros, I think it's like a honey mango habanero, I think is what it is. I put it on some wings.
I think I did see that online.
Yeah.
The grilled wings. Yeah, that looked good.
Yep.
East Coast or Southwest?
Oof. I love the weather in the Southwest, so that's definitely a plus there. I don't know that I would ever move back to the East Coast, so I'll say Southwest.
Burger or hot dog?
Burger.
Drums or flats?
Ooh, so I think I'm going to catch some flack for this one, but I'm going to say flats.
No, you ain't. What? Oh, yeah, you are going to catch flack. I thought you were going to be with me. Everybody always wants a flat. Nobody appreciates the drums.
So I would never order
flats.
like all flats because I'm not going to be that difficult person that orders that kind of a meal. But I don't know. I think you can hold more sauce on a flat wing than like dunking a drum.
So I have one more official in the list of 10 that we made, and then I'm going to bounce back to one that Doug loves to answer because I think it'd be fun to ask. But the last real of these 10 is most overrated current NFL QB.
Most overrated? Oof. All right, I'm going to say Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
Other than that one season where he won MVP, he hasn't done anything. So.
Ooh, okay.
Bias in and out of that. I agree.
And then Doug usually likes to ask our guests this question, but since we're on the topic of quickfire questions, I'm going to ask because I enjoy, and Doug's still eating
just
nachos.
shoveling nachos in his mouth.
I'm out of chips now. Now it's just cheese sauce and goo, and I ain't got a fork.
He will be filming an OnlyFans episode after this. Who wins in a fight, Batman or Superman?
Ooh, that's tough.
Slug's gonna hang up on you if you answer it wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, I'm gonna say Batman.
I would, but I can't touch. Of course you would. Of course you would. If I was covered in sauce, if I wasn't covered in sauce, I'd leave right now. Disgusted. You flat wing eating Batman fan?
Well, see, Superman needs the sun, so eventually, if you just keep him in the dark, doesn't he?
You're right.
Lose some
If
of
the
his power?
human Batman can keep the demigod in the dark for long enough,
That's all you gotta do. Or just grab that
he's got a high intellect. I get it.
Grab that hunk of kryptonite and just keep that in your pocket, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Instant shield. It's an anti-Superman barrier. I get you. I get it. I get why everyone picks Batman. I understand.
Oh,
I have something else to say, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to split the listeners. I don't want it to make a civil war.
So
all 23.
I think we've kind of asked this. We know what your favorite hot sauce is to, like your go-to is like a Louisiana. What's your, and we might have asked this. Sorry if we've already covered it. But what's like, I don't know, like your favorite go-to cooking hot sauce? Like just not your personal preference, but something that you think goes good with recipes that you always try to like keep stocked up for whatever.
Let's see.
And you don't have to have one.
I mean, honestly, I really don't have a favorite one. I like some of the like super hot hot sauces if I'm making
Okay.
like a chili, let's say, because then you can just use like a couple, a teaspoonful and mix it, taste it, and it's not like I gotta grab cayenne and all this other stuff. I can just hit it with a couple more dashes of whatever sauce. Um, Same thing for marinades. I think it's a great way to some of those hotter sauces. Like the guy I know went to culinary school with, he makes one called the Hooch, and it's a Carolina Reaper ghost pepper sauce. So it's super super hot. So that I don't know that you would eat it on like wings outside of like some kind of a sadistic hot wing challenge. But it's great to put in marinades or add a little bit into salsas or chili, things like that.
Somewhere there's a video of me eating that.
Yeah, because that was one of the ones in the in that competition. Yeah,
That
and
that was hot.
I ate that one last because I already knew because I'd had it before, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna eat this one last, so I can just do the quick judging and get off of here and go get something to drink, or get a scoop of ice cream.
He's making a comeback. I saw.
Yeah. So he's been out of the country for a little while for his day job, so to speak. But hopefully he'll be back soon. He funny thing is he made a like his version of Old Bay, and I had used it and tagged Old Bay in a post that I made, and he got some like cease and desist letter from Old Bay saying that like
you threw your friend under the bus.
Well, I apologized immediately. I was like, I didn't think they were going to actually like see my stuff, but like they said, the packaging and the font and all this stuff was way too similar, and he had to change his label. Luckily, he hadn't mass produced the first one, so it was okay. But that was pretty funny.
You got an Old Bay kind of flavor though. Back home, the stupid ass bar on the river in Pennsylvania. The restaurant was called Captain T, so their Captain T wings was just buffalo with Old Bay.
Okay.
And it is now one of my favorite go-tos. If I go to a place that has it on the menu, I'll say, "Can you throw that into your hot wings?" So if he's already got like an Old Bay-esque seasoning, or whatever, I'm gonna check that out.
That he has a Reaper salt too. It's got like a sea salt with ground up Carolina Reaper mixed into it. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've had an absolute blast today.
Yeah, it was. Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time, and it's good to chat more than just a quick message on Instagram, more than just once a year when we're overrunning your house with hot sauce and delicious food. But yeah, thank you so much. I know I have a few pictures I'll post of the nachos that I made, and Turk will do his thing next week, and Slug, there is no more nacho. It's a murder scene over there, I think.
Yeah, it's just like the viscera of the pico and cheese sauce left, and that's it. I'm not putting my finger in that to eat it. I ate all the chicken and the nachos, and it's great. I'm happy. I have nothing bad to say. This is a great experience. It's been an honor to speak with you, Chef.
Oh, glad you guys were able to get me on, and anytime I'm down to come back.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and hopefully I can get these two back down there next year, and maybe they'll make it to the pre-party. But
yeah,
if I leave the week before, maybe I'll be able to make it in time for a pre-party.
Well, he made it last year, or 2 years ago, and then he went to go visit Turk out in Seattle, and he got to Idaho, and unfortunately ended up in the hospital. So long distance travel is now kind of up in the air. But
it jacks me up. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on a plane ride one day. I'm gonna squeeze my fat ass in and say, "Get me on," and just see what they do. I'm gonna say, "Make it happen." And if they do work out, then my whole life will change. And if they kill me in the plane crash, who cares? I'll give you something spicy to talk about at the convention.
I think that you could get on a plane and you would be able to plane ride wherever. Your wheelchair surviving the plane ride there's a 10% chance. So we would just have to have a push manual chair ready to go for the rest of your trip. But you're a wheelchair surviving, nothing.
So for those interested, before we go, tell us where they can find you, and if they're in the area, Albuquerque, New Mexico, or want to take your cooking classes are online, yes?
Yes. Yep.
So if they're in the area and want you to cook for them, or they want to take an online cooking class, where do they find you?
So you can look me up on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way at chef_Bartbow, BARTBOW, or you can just search up ABQ private chef, and I'll be the only one that'll pop up. I think I'm one of the first ones on Google if you do the same thing. Or my website is chefbbcooks.com. And it has all my contact information is there as well.
Awesome. Well, we so much appreciate your time today. It's been a blast, and we will catch you here soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Talking Heat. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information, visit talkingheat.com.